ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו. I have jotted down a few ideas that I want to share with you. I'm going to read most of them because I'm afraid I'm going to forget to mention some of them. There are many people, especially in our scientific and technological age, that are atheists or agnostics. For the atheist, there is no proof of God's existence. To the contrary, every day's experience denies the existence of a supreme God. If there is a God, why doesn't he communicate with us? Why does he keep us in suspense? Eliminate all doubts once and for all. Why do we have to rely upon Bible, upon other texts, about prophets? Why doesn't God tell us today that he is there? The agnostic is not very far from this. Yet he feels maybe there is such a thing as a supreme being, because people believed in him or in her for ages. Yet there are so many unresolved issues, whether you believe or not. Why do we suffer? Why is there injustice in this world? Famine, disease, natural disasters. Above all, science does not affirm the existence of God, and we follow science. Look at what science has done for mankind throughout the ages. Many benefits. Why do I need religion at all? I fear that my questioning of God's existence is going to be more convincing than what I have to say. Yet I want to tread on treacherous grounds. I am a risk taker. The basic problem is that science really does not explain most phenomena without the mention of the axiom of God's existence. Science and technology are wonderful. They have made our lives much more livable, greater experience. Yet, science does not explain everything. Far from it from a human point of view. Take love. Give me a scientific definition of love, or any definition. It reminds me of the politician who said he cannot define pornography, yet he can identify it when he sees it, but he can't define it. There is a tender dialogue in Fiddler on the Roof, when Tevye questions his wife Goldie, "Do you love me?" It's a song. "Do you love me?" And she replies, "I'm your wife." "But do you love me?" continues Tevye. "For 25 years I've lived with him, fought with him, starved with him. 25 years my bed is his. If that is not love, what is?" replies Goldie. Tevye says, "Then you love me." Replies Goldie, "I suppose I do." The writer of Tevye on the Roof was very talented, yet could not come up with a real definition of love. Why am I moved by the sound of music? And not necessarily Jewish music. I love music in general. Why do I feel somehow elevated when listening to a symphony? Have you listened to Beethoven's 9th Symphony, to his 5th Symphony? You feel elevated somehow. Why do I do that? I remember a geography teacher in high school, not because of the subject matter he taught, but for the informal talks he used to have with us. I remember that on one occasion he related that when Michelangelo finished his sculpture of Moses, he stood before the imposing figure and burst out with, "Why don't you speak?" So imposing was the statue that he had created of Moses. Have you been to the Lincoln Memorial in Washington? And most people are moved by this memorial. I was there. And I remember the feeling of elation, inspiration in front of such an imposing figure of Lincoln and knowing what he signified in American history. I am blessed with an extraordinary unobstructed view. My apartment is about a mile from the ocean, and on several occasions, after a rainfall, I've seen a rainbow. A real rainbow, not the one I saw in the movie The Wizard of Oz with Judy Garland. It's an awe-inspiring experience. Color in the sky suddenly. According to the Torah, it was the sign offered Noah with the promise that no new deluge would destroy the world in the future. The knowledge that there are stars that are 1 billion of light years away from us makes the universe awesome, amazing, breathtaking, overwhelming. There are no words to describe that. How can human science address such physical wonders? They're not only beyond explanation, they're beyond comprehension. You know what a light year is? A light year is the distance that is traveled with the speed of light. What is the speed of light? 186,000 miles per second. How many seconds in a year? 31,536,000. Do you know how many miles there are in a light year? I'll say the numbers. I don't know how to read them. 5, 865, 696, and 6 zeros to the right of that. Now, can you comprehend that number? And then you want to multiply that number by another 1 billion, another 9 zeros to the right. Do you have any idea of what that number means? To a human being, it really means nothing. And yet, this is what we're talking about when we speak about the universe. Why do I feel that certain things are morally wrong? There's no reason for it. Why do I feel that it is wrong to lie, to murder, to steal? Why do I feel that? I see a lion killing and eating a lamb. Apparently that is the law of nature. The strong dominates and even kills the weaker. Yet, I feel deeply that I should rather help the weak. Not everyone feels that way. I know that. The Nazis wanted to do away with the weak, but most of us don't think so. Is it reasonable to help the weak? There are arguments that can be brought about for different results. For instance, when you have forest fires, the weak trees disappear, only the strong ones remain. So those are the ones that are going to multiply. In other words, nature improves itself by killing the weak. Yet, we feel that is not the right way to do. We feel that you have to defend the weak, that you have to defend, in the words of the Bible, the widow and the orphan. Deep down, I would like to be remembered when I'm gone. Not everyone can leave a mark in this world, but most of us would like to be remembered, not just go away from this world without leaving any kind of record, any kind of step, any kind of impression on others. I am aware of many things and situations I cannot define or even put into words. Yet I feel they are real. They are the sphere of science. They are out of the sphere of science. What is hope? What is joy? What is faith? God is an answer to a mystery. It is a tentative answer, an approximation, because we cannot define what God is. Religion with its rituals allows for a feeling of closeness to this God. They somehow give greater meaning to being human. Of course, many wars have been waged in the name of this God, but they are the result of our human failings and misreadings. Anyone who kills or destroys in the name of God is obviously entirely wrong. No ifs, ands, or buts allowed. We cannot know the essence of God. We cannot even pronounce his name correctly according to Jewish tradition. Notwithstanding all the anthropomorphism expressions about God's outstretched arm or even God speaking, this is done so that at the human level we should gain some comprehension. The idea of God addresses our necessity of reaching for the stars, of transcending our everyday existence. It is clear that we humans are different from all other creatures. We may share some of our DNA with other species, but the result is entirely different. Civilization is proof thereof. Perhaps, as one of my admired colleagues once said, perhaps it is not as important to believe in God's existence as it is to live as if God exists. So you live in doubt, and therefore must continue to search, because to know, to be certain, will really lead to boredom and inactivity. To doubt is to be able to grow and seek, to hope and be inspired by a greater being. Don't you think that if humanity were to live by the norms of the Bible, the world would be more hospitable? What is your answer?